Resolved, the school start time at Prairie Point should be changed from 7:50 to 7:25. Have you ever gotten home and had no time to do homework because of after-school activities and spending time with family? That's why school should change the start time. Currently, at our school, we start at 7:50 and end at 2:37. If the school want the earlier start time of 7:25, it would benefit us in 3 specific ways. First, students would improve academically. Second, students would have more time for after-school activities. And third, this schedule will be better for parents. School start time should start earlier because of more time for homework, after-school activities, and responsibilities. According to What is the Advantage of Having School Start Early by Rachel Pancare, completing homework is a burden for many children, especially after a long school day. The later students finish school and the less time they have to do homework, and the sooner they begin to feel tired. An earlier release offers many children a chance to relax or take a break before beginning their homework assignments. It also gives them more choices of how to use their time effectively, or instance, children may choose to complete their homework immediately after school. So they have more time to do things such as play with friends, go outside, or watch a favorite television show. An earlier dismissal from school presents students with an opportunity to learn how to prioritize and manage their time effectively. With an early out, kids get more time to relax, and it helps them learn how to use their time effectively after work or during a break. The earlier students are dismissed from school, the more time they have to participate in after-school activities and programs. Sports teams can hold practices or games in daylight. Art, drama, school newspaper, and other extracurricular clubs can meet. After-school programs can provide children with valuable academic, social, and professional experiences. Also, school gets out, but before parents get home. With an early out, kids can practice in daylight instead of it being dusk when a game or practice starts. Also, in my experience with basketball in the winter, it gets dark around 5 o'clock, and there could be a risk of a kidnapping. Some children have responsibilities in addition to homework, jobs, and extracurricular activities. They might have household chores or family members to take care of work. Getting out of school earlier in the day presents families with more options in the afternoon. Parents who need more help around the house can delegate some tasks to children, such as cleaning the kitchen, vacuuming, or walking the dog. With kids out of school early, they can help even more around the house and can have more time for projects. However, earlier start times do have some advantages that may be worth considering. According to an article in the Baltimore Post-Examiner, Montgomery County Public Schools in Maryland has 30 schools and the 3 ranked highest in the U.S. and worked in World Report for College Readiness and Algebra English Proficiency, all begin classes at 7:25 a.m. As you can see, students can still excel academically even with early start times. Going to school at an earlier time will make it easier on parents. In an article by Mary Anderson, What is the Advantage of Having School Start Early? They state this: eliminates need for morning childcare if parents are able to drop off their kids before work. Parents can work a full shift, which guarantees them more money and resources to provide the family with. Schools are debating whether or not to start earlier or later in the day. As you can see, my teammates and I have stated the facts that schools should start earlier because of students would improve academically, students would have more time for after-school activities, and the schedule will be better for parents.
One of the arguments that the affirmative team has provided suggests that students will perform better in school if they are woken up earlier. This statement is untrue. According to Do Schools Begin Too Early? The Effect of Start Times and Student Achievements by Finley Edwards explains, I find that by delaying school start times by 1 hour improves standardized test scores by at least 2 percentile points in math and 1 percentile point in reading. If a new start time of 7 was implemented, scores could actually drop according to this research. Students may feel more awake, but their performance will show otherwise. If a person is left in a freezing temperature for too long, their body will get so cold that it tricks it into thinking it's hot. Essentially, that is what waking up early is doing to students, tricking their bodies into thinking they are more awake when they are really sleep deprived. Therefore, academic performance will not be improved in any way by forcing teenagers to get up earlier. The school start time should remain at 7:50. Another one of the points the affirmative has brought to attention is the arguable reason that an earlier start time would work better with parents' schedules. That is ridiculous. Out of all the parents in this room, I bet none of them have the exact same schedule as one another. A new schedule might work better for some households and worse for others. Some parents might work a night shift and some might not even work at all. Would that be best for those families? There's no definitive way to say that one time will work best for everyone. Overall, the start time should not be pulled ahead by 50 minutes. My opponent may say that getting in and out of school earlier will give students more time for sports and homework, But this argument is false. In an interview with Mr. Alita, Prairie Point's principal, he explained how if the start time of he explained how if the school got out at 1:47, as the affirmative is proposing, all games and some practices will have to be late an hour because most schools in Iowa get out around 2:30. Athletes would likely see little to no change in the time they get home from their sports events. Therefore, it would be a waste of time to get out earlier.
School is a new experience for everyone, whether it's a sunrise or trying to fit in an extra cup of coffee. That will come to a halt if the affirmative gets their way. Prayer Point start time should stay at 7:50 a.m. rather than 7 o'clock because earlier school start times affect students academically, bus schedules, and before and after school activities. If the bell rang any earlier, there would be issues with the buses. In our interview, Prayer Point's principal, Greg Leadham, he explained exactly what brought the administrators to put our school start time at 7:50. He said, well, many years ago, a lot of debates started with not having enough buses and bus drivers. We needed to be able to transport elementary, middle school, and high school kids that required too many buses. So we made the start time stagger. The middle school being a little earlier than the high school and elementary. This cuts the amount of bus needed in half. Contradicting this would shift all the bus times and routes since it's been this way for so long. If the school began 15 minutes earlier, the buses and bus drivers would have to wait after getting point kids to school for about 40 minutes before they had to continue their routes. By changing the start time, the school would even lose money. As Helen Holland stated, administrators struggling with tight budgets say the altered schedules can lead to cost savings by forcing more efficient uses of the buses. West Des Moines school officials, for instance, predicted potential savings of $700,000 annually from their school start time changes. After changing to a later start time, the West Des Moines schools gained money, so they were able to use the buses more truly. If Prayer Point adjusted schedules, the district could lose money simply from inefficiency. Buses aren't the only thing that would necessarily work out if proper team was executed. People in before and after school activities would be at school in an early hour. For after school activities, let's just say they have to wait. 72% of Prairie Point's 8th grade students are involved in before and after school clubs and sports. In our interview, Leon explained any sports or activities would be affected. If you had a game, you'd have to wait an hour because all the other schools would be getting out an hour later. Imagine sitting in the cafeteria, waiting anxiously for the other team to get there for an hour. A survey was conducted with the 8th graders at Prairie, asking them 2 questions. 1, would you be in favor of school starting 15 minutes earlier? And 2, what in your life would be affected if school started and ended earlier? 78.5% of the polled students said they would not be in favor of an earlier start time. And almost all the students said their sleep schedule would be affected if new start time was implemented. If the bell rang any earlier, many complications would emerge with not only buses and before and after school activities, but the academics of the students who are doing that. According to Russell Foster, Director of Sleep and Neuroscience Institute, sleep is the most efficient cognitive enhancer we have, meaning the more sleep we get, the more educated we will become. Sleep is important. Even 15 minutes make a difference, especially for adolescents. According to the article, the impact school start time on academic performance, child psychiatrist Dr. Keza Chernoff confirms the later start times are beneficial. He adds the older the student is, the later their body releases the chemical that helps them sleep. It's called melatonin. So in adolescents, it's released around 11 o'clock. In children, it's released around 8 or 9 o'clock. So in adolescents, is not going to get much sleep before then as much as they try. Based on what Dr. Kezich said, on average, a per student might go to sleep around 11:30, getting about 7-8 hours of sleep, depending, of course, on what time they wake up. The melatonin keeping them up causes them not to be fully rested in the morning. A study in Chicago was conducted in its public high schools, found students beginning classes at 7:30 a.m. showed marked deficiencies in performance in first period courses throughout the term. In their first period classes, they're having lower scores because the students haven't woken up yet, causing them to not pay attention as much as they should. Getting out early has its benefits, but really doesn't compare with all the influential reasons to keep at 7. Like keep it at 7:50, like getting bad grades, losing money, and waiting an hour for before and after school activities. So let's keep Prairie Point start time at 7:50 rather than 7 o'clock.
My opponent may say that students will be sleep deprived by starting school earlier, but I disagree. Having students get up early can potentially help them learn to get up and get ready for a job, because they are having this daily routine of getting up at a certain time, especially if the time is early. Most jobs require you to get up early, whether it's to open a store or come in early for some paperwork. But either way, students can really benefit from getting up early for school and taking it into the future with them for their jobs. Therefore, students can prevent from getting up early now, and they will learn to appreciate it later when they have to get up early for their jobs. My opponent may say that there isn't anything that students or staff can benefit from by getting up earlier than 8 a.m. for school. But I disagree. According to the article, What is the Advantage of Having School Start Early by Marie Anderson, local public middle schools in Virginia estimate that by starting some campuses at 7:25 a.m., they will be able to save around $680,000 a year. This schedule could also mean shorter bus rides for students and less time sitting in traffic. Also, this method saves money by allowing drivers to run more than one route at a time, so fewer buses and drivers are needed. Therefore, if there's a way to save a significant amount of money a year just by changing something as simple as what time some campuses start, why not make the change to benefit schools financially?